All right, guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about something new that I really don't have a lot of information on, nor do I know a lot. You guys can see on screen we got Tony Huge, we got Coach Trevor next to him, and then we got Fat Guys Who Lift. So today we're going to be talking about NANO SARMs. I have a lot of questions about them, and I'll let you take it from there, Tony. What is NANO SARMs?
So nano refers to particle size. It means really, really small particle size. So normally when we take a supplement or put something in our body, the particles are all bound together, stuck in big blobs. And there's less surface area. There's less things for it to attach to. It's harder to circulate, get around, pass through cell membranes. So when things are broken down into smaller particles, like I think how most people know this is like creatine back in the day, and they came out with micronized creatine. They keep breaking down the creatine particles to become more absorbable. So I think in bodybuilding, that's what people think of when they think of smaller particle size. And then you have the picogram, right? Like things are measured on picogram stuff, like ultra small. But like nano is is like the smallest you can really. Is it pretty much the smallest you can get something as far as supplement usage? Nano.
Well, supplement, yeah. I mean, it's still in research phases, so they're not really approving any of this stuff in medicine, I guess.
Yeah. Eventually, nano is actually going to become illegal because it makes supplements so effective that it competes with pharmaceuticals.
So what is, I guess, the benefit of nano versus, like, let's say oral SARMs, for instance?
Well, I mean, we deal with mostly injectable SARMs, like Sarmbalone, Ragebalone, Magnolone, Winnovarol, these type of things, and those are nano. So they're not just nano; they're also injection, which takes them to the next level. But if you're talking about like the difference, if you took an oral non-nano SARM versus an oral SARM that is not nano, or oral nano SARM versus non-nano SARM, then what would that be?
So we'll put it this way: you ever taken something where you could just put it on your tongue and it'll absorb?
Right, like liquid or...
Yeah, I mean, even some powders, right?
Yeah.
And then you try to do it with another substance, it doesn't work. It's this concept. Those particles aren't meant to do that. So when they're small enough, they can pass through the membrane. And if they're still too big, now they're small enough where you can add something to make the membrane permeable. And now it can pass through.
Okay, got you. Is the half-life also longer with the nano?
It can be. With the SARMs, it is, yeah, because it is small enough where your body, when those protein carriers are coming by to remove it, it's not seeing them. They're the same size particle. They're like 90 nanometers.
So there might be less. So things that are larger particle size can potentially get cleared out of the body faster.
Your body senses it.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically you get a longer half-life, you get better absorption, just basically get more out of it is essentially the gist of nano, or I guess attaching it to nano SARMs.
And when you nano it, you leave the potential now for like liposomal technology, so things where it'll protect it. So you have SARMs that are 30% bioavailable orally. Now you do this, you're at 90% because you can survive the stomach. And it's the same thing. Yeah, same.
Yeah. So I'm injecting all the SARMs that I'm injecting, because I'm using 90% injectable SARMs, and every once in a while an oral SARMs, but I'm using the injectable nano SARMs, the Swiss Chems ones. And the potency is insane. Like I did the Ostalone this week, and I did 50 milligrams. And now when I do 50 milligrams of oral Ostarine non-nano, it's like, it's okay. It's kind of weak as far as a SARM goes for a bodybuilder of my size.
Mm-hmm.
But when I take the injectable version, I feel like I'm on full-blown steroids. Like I felt so much more power, strength, mind-muscle connection in the gym. And I even got acne within 24 hours of my first shot. That's not a good thing, but it's just to show that I never got acne from oral Ostarine.
Right.
So how much more potent is the injectable nano version of the SARM versus oral? I don't know, but it's like multiple times more powerful.
And by the way, guys, we're not doctors. Do not do anything without your doctor's supervision. This is all for informational and educational purposes only. So with the nano SARMs, is that going to be injection every day?
One time I did play a doctor on TV, though. So I just want to...
I guess that counts. Yeah, you're good.
Full disclosure.
Technically, then, yeah, full disclosure. We're totally fine. So with the injections, would that be every day, every other day? What would be the best, I guess, course of action for the nano SARMs?
So I'm doing every day. But if if you take, there's the XR version, extended release, and the non-XR version. So the XR version, it's people usually do them like twice a week type thing. With versus the other one, the regular, they do them usually every day or every other day. I think if I was using a testosterone foundation, I think every other day with the non-XR version would be adequate for me. And it also depends on the dosage. Like if I'm doing a really low dosage, because it's got a half-life to it. So if you're doing a really low dosage, you come up a little bit and then the levels get really low, 24 hours later, versus I'm doing a high dosage, I go way up and then I still have a considerable amount in my body 24 hours later.
Right.
So I'm doing kind of high dosages. Technically, I could probably do it the non-XR version every other 2 days and still have plenty in my bloodstream to be anabolic. So it's a matter of preference.
And then Swiss Chems is the only place to have NANO SARMs, right? Or correct me if I'm wrong.
That's
At
the
least
only
at the
place
moment.
I've ever seen. When I search online, that's the only place that I know. I can't imagine any other company doing it because it is so time consuming and so expensive. No one would do it if their goal was to make profit. So a company would do it if their goal is to pioneer bodybuilding chemistry, but to make profit, people would just sell oral SARMs liquid because that's like so cheap to make. And there's a high margin on that, but there's not on injectable and not on NANO SARMs.
Right. And by the way, guys, if you want to try anything for your lab rat, research purposes only, first link in the description down below is where you can definitely do that. So do you think this will make, once it kind of catches on, obviously SARMs are becoming more trendy as time progresses, is everyone going to start to transition away from steroids, do you think, or the steroid culture, and just start to utilize like steroids and NANO SARMs?
I think SARMs are eventually going to become illegal, but I think the people who did use SARMs are going to want to still continue using SARMs over steroids. Like if both are illegal, the people who have used injectable SARMs are still going to choose injectable SARMs over steroids, probably. But not for all purposes, just for muscle building purposes in general. Because remember, steroids for building muscle are no better than SARMs. But for hydrating joints or creating just more cell volumization through more glycogen retention, or things like that, then they might choose a steroid, or the look, like just to dry out with like a Winstrol or something. But for just general building muscle, I think people who have used SARMs will continue to use SARMs over steroids,
Right.
usually with a testosterone foundation. But what do you think, Trevor?
I mean, again, if you don't try them, you're never going to know. So the steroid culture, I don't think once you're in that zone that steroids are the best, and why fix it if it's not broken? You're probably not going to venture out to SARMs because just the name SARM doesn't really make sense. They're not really SARMs. They're just more anabolic steroids if you look at it. So SARM is kind of misleading.
Gotcha. And then Tony, you mentioned the side effect of the acne, like almost overnight. Is there any other side effect, or has that been kind of the only one you've experienced with the NANO SARMs, at least immediately?
Yes. Well, so yeah, within 24 hours of Oslo, and I got a pimple on my cheek and a pimple on my balls. And then
It's true.
just waiting for Trevor.
It can confirm.
Trevor inspect it.
It's not cancerous. It's just it.
And then the Folitonic makes me aggressive, kind of like Tren. Not as bad as Tren, but it's similar. And then Rage Balloon. It's funny because the oral Rad 140, when I take it, I remember having like a lot of anxiety when I went with a really high dosage. But with the injectable, I didn't really feel the anxiety. But it might just be because I'm in a different place in my life. But I did feel the instant strength and gym performance. Probably the two best bodybuilding drugs I've ever used for performance in the gym for weights, not like cardio, like Cardarine type thing, was methyltren and Rage Balloon by far. And the Rage Balloon is the Rad 140 injection. So I'm saying that because like they can cause anxiety and they can cause aggression a little bit, but I didn't experience that lately with the injectable Nano one, except for the Folitonic. And then what's other side effects? Well, S4 is still going to cause vision side effects, whether it's injected or taken oral. And then S23 is going to cause pretty much complete shutdown of natural testosterone production at a higher dosage, which is fine for most of us who are used to steroids. But for those who are using SARMs, because they're so much less suppressive than steroids, they probably want to steer clear of S23, which is sarmbalone.
And the inject has a little bit less suppression too over an oral.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're not seeing any hair loss. I remember thinking I had hair loss from SARMs before, and I don't think it was directly from the SARMs. I think it was from the increased maybe anxiety, aggression, because when I took the S23 early on, I did feel more of that sort of aggression, I remember, which for me, hair loss doesn't happen from DHT compounds. I took Masterone the last 4 days, or last week, and no hair loss, for example. But when I get stressed, my hair falls out. And steroids can cause stress, so it's a secondary effect. Yeah,
Right.
no, I don't think any other side effects. We've seen no liver toxicity, no kidney toxicity. All the blood work we've done on the injectable NANO SARMs have had no side effects other than improving a lipid profile. So like if I'm on steroids and my lipid profile is bad and I'm switching to SARMs, my lipid profile's not going to improve. But when I come off everything, then my lipid profile does improve.
The testosterone shut down too on the ones the lab work we were getting is, I think we had one that was 40 or 50 points it dropped, and then the other one was the same for them. So they're pretty mild on certain compounds injecting.
Tyler, you've used most of the injectable NANO SARMs. What side effects have you gotten from any of them?
Actually, all I've really gotten is good ones. My teeth feel a lot better. My joints.
Your teeth?
Yeah.
Your teeth feel better.
Yeah.
Like how
They feel
so?
strong.
Your teeth feel stronger?
They do. They feel harder. They do. I don't know how to explain that, but maybe plaque buildup, stuff like that. It's not as much.
Bone density. They're for bone density.
Yeah,
So
I
Trevor
can
think
tell.
that's possible because of increase in bone density? That's
Because I got bad teeth. And then my hair, it's growing back barely. But
Oh yeah, he switched. So he was using steroids before, and his
Yeah.
hair was falling out. So he switched to the SARMs. Now his hair started growing back.
So it's
Oh.
more good effects than bad. I don't have breakouts real bad. Not yet.
But did you get a pimple from the Oscillone?
No,
'Cause I
but
did.
I think it's because I took a super high dose of Cabergoline a day before that. So I don't know if that has to do with estrogen or progesterone or anything like that. But I usually break out real bad very easy. So that has something to do with it. Maybe after like 6 days of taking, I'll break out because the Cabergoline's probably all the way out of my system.
Well, there's a
don't
lot of
know.
different ways that acne could be caused. I don't
Mine's
know if
always
it's-
because of estrogen.
Oh, okay. So you're not breaking out because you're not using as much aromatizing compounds because you
Yeah.
swapped for the SARMs.
I'm not sure if that would do that, but at a high dose of 50 milligrams, it might.
So basically no
No.
side effects.
Damn.
But
Okay. Crazy.
have you had side effects when you go super high doses
Just
on the
anger.
injectable SARMs? Anger?
And specifically like the YK, S23 RAD combo, that combo did it. But it was specifically the Fullatonic. That one definitely did.
Here's the craziest thing, Kenny. They say that SARMs are liver toxic to try to encourage us not to use them. And yet I inject 10 times the normal dosage injected and still no impact on my liver. I mean, there's like,
Okay.
that's like the opposite of liver. I mean, most things you can inject anything in 10 times the dosage is going to impact your liver, and still the SARMs don't impact my liver negatively.
Do you think that would change, say, if it was oral compared to injectable?
I
Liver
don't think I've
enzymes?
megadosed oral SARMs also, and I still didn't have any liver toxicity. But you think YK and megadoses could be liver
And it's
toxic?
in very high doses. I've seen that one, but it was very high doses, yeah.
Okay.
So for being methylated, yeah, it's pretty safe.
My liver shows no impact from megadosing any of them.
Dang, that's crazy. Well, awesome. I mean, I think we pretty much covered essentially what the NANO SARMs are, guys. If, like I said, you want to experiment on your lab rat for research purposes only, first link in the description down below. If you want more information, Dr. Tony Huge, Coach Trevor, you guys can more than welcome to shoot them an Instagram DM or anything. Ask Trevor about the monkeys, if they're still
God
around
damn
the
it.
house.
Didn't bring that up, did you, man? Don't bring that up.
And if you want to talk to someone who pretends they're a doctor, you can message me because I have no PhD.
Or that, yeah, you guys can message Fat Guy Who's a Lift. There you go.
He's a gynecologist for the movie stars.
Yeah. But I appreciate you guys coming on. Like I said, guys, I'll have all their social media links in the description down below. And I hope you learned something. I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Jennifer